like me, you can't be slowed down by uncomfortable footwear with no support. So I get all the comfort.
Hello and welcome to episode 95 of Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your host Mark and myself Paul. You can check all out the links to the podcast in the description below. Why not join our forum page at www.celticrooms.co.uk where all things Celtic are talked about within the forum. On tonight's show, we will have a match reaction from today's thrashing against Dundee United at Tannadice, Champions League group stage draw reaction, and a look ahead to Wednesday's round 16 Scottish Cup tie away to Ross County at the Dundee Utd. Firstly, I hand off to Mark for a few shout-outs.
Thanks very much, Paul. Just check the sound's alright, if everybody can hear us alright there as well, Paul. Shout-outs to usual suspects, Tim Alloy, a Glasgow Green, a Glasgow Green, wee Bobby Sutherland. I see Bobby's in the chat, big shout-out to Bobby, and special wee shout-out as well to Richie. Richie starts his next case of, or whatever, his chemotherapy tomorrow, so good luck to Richie doing that, and God bless you and your family, mate. You know that we're all backing you. Who we got in so far? There's Brian's, I say, Jabber's in as well. Good, thanks for joining us, lads. We're now up at 595 subs. We're slowly climbing, Paul, so that's all good. Steph Boy, brilliant Steph Boy. We still sponsored walk for the St Andrew's Hospice up Ben Nevis. I think at last I seen it, he raised £875. So a big up, Steph, and thanks very much to everybody that donated and helped out with that kind of thing. So well done, Steph. Just the usual, the links to everything's on our link tree down at underneath the video, to the forum, the Discord, Twitter, you name it. So come and get involved on the forum and stuff like the Discord and that.
Celtic travelled to Tannadice to take on Dundee United in this afternoon's kick-off. Celtic turned up in style, and this is Celtic turned up in style, and basically gave Dundee United thrashing. The final result being 9-0. A hat-trick from Kyogo, a Bada hat-trick, Jota, Jovanovic, Carr, Celtic were all on the score sheet today for Celtic. Celtic controlled the game. I say, Mark, from after maybe the first 15-20 minutes, I think, is when Celtic kind of came into the game.
Aye.
There's a few things we're talking about the game. Fletcher's tackle on Joe Hart, was it a red card offence, or was a yellow card a right judgment by the referee? Kyogo's hat-trick, we're going to talk about his movement off the ball, his pressing in defence. Is Jota more effective on the left? Abada again showing why he's a top youngster, starting this season where he left off last season. I also want to talk about Aaron Moy. For me, when he came on, I think he controlled that midfield. He had 64 touches. He had a 97 passing accuracy. He won 7 of his duels. He had 6 tackles and he had 3 clearances. The stats for the game are Dundee United possession 24.1% to 75.9% for Celtic. If you want to round it off, what Sky Sports doing, but that's just Sky Sports because they don't know how to add and how to plus. So,
I just copied them off your website, Paul. So.
Total stats, total shots 6 to Dundee United, 30 to Celtic. On target 2 for Dundee United, 13 on target for Celtic. On target 2 for Dundee United, 6 for Celtic. Goals 0, 9 to Celtic. Passes, which I found this very, very good mark. I know a lot of people don't care about the stats, but when you have a score of 9-0 and you look at the stats and you actually see how impressive Ange's Celtic team is.
But I noticed earlier, Paul, see when I was changing the stats for like the last game to come up on the screen and that, I noticed that the numbers were all kind of similar.
Oh yeah.
See for the Ross County game, see their possession and their amount of passes and stuff like that, Paul, they were all really similar. So you can see that's the pattern that Ange is playing. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Passes 227 to Dundee United. Celtics 716. Pass accuracy was 52. The Celtics 88. Celtics pass accuracy mark is always in around the 80s. It's never below the 80s, and that's just going what you're saying there. There's a pass ring the way he wants to play, and Celtic's pass rate is always along the 700-800 mark of passes completed, which for me the mark is for any team. I don't care what league they're playing in. 716 passes in a game is quite impressive, like, you know.
Oh, definitely, Paul. I mean, I've seen it last season. People were kind of comparing it to like your Barcelona teams and stuff like that. I know it's maybe not that kind of level, but as you said, if you're playing football at any level and you're playing that kind of game, Paul, that's. But we're talking maybe what some games it's nearly 600 passes, Paul. We've had more than the team we're playing against in that.
Exactly. We've been saying it, Mark, I think since January, when Ange's kind of formula started clicking in with the players, and we can say now it's 100% Ange's team, and we would said someone is going to get a thrashing one day by Celtic, and that came today. It was a thrashing, Mark.
It really was. And they never offered us anything at all. It's any kind of threat to the goal or that. Do you know what I mean? The most dangerous thing was putting Joe Hart in the head.
What's your thoughts on that, Mark? Do you think, was he trying to play the ball? Because when I was looking at it, it looked like his studs were up as well as going for the ball. Like you can't play that with your studs up.
I know. I think he was entitled to go for the ball, but I think he was a bit reckless in it as well, Paul. I don't think there was any malice in it. I don't think he meant to hurt Hart. He was entitled to get in for the ball, but it was just maybe a wee bit reckless and maybe just a wee bit bad luck and unlucky as well. I wouldn't really say.
Just going by that, Mark, as well, like it just shows the character of Joe Hart.
There's a lot of keepers
or any player would go off
Aye.
after getting staples into the head, and he continued. You know,
he just sat there he just sat there while they were doing the stapling and that. I wouldn't have just been sitting there. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it looked as if there was quite a lot of blood.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
And it looked, you could see it on the telly. It looked a fair size of cut in that as well. So I fair play to him. The head and shoulders will be nipping the night.
There's always a debate, kind of between myself and you, and Welchie when he comes on, and kind of any guest when he comes on, Mark. But when Kyogo plays, I think Celtic play, and I think that was evident today from his passing, his movement, not just his hat trick. Like, just take away his hat trick at the moment. Like, it's just what he brings to the team, Mark. His movement off the ball is next to none, and with his movement, there's space for Celtic. Like, I think we struggled, Mark, over the years to break down teams, and the reason we struggled to break down teams is because we didn't have a player like Kyogo. And Kyogo was the key for breaking
making space for himself off the ball. Many games did we sit there, Paul, we underline that, and just even under Rodgers, and it was just passing it about on the opposition's 18-yard line, hoping that they'll make a mistake or they'll do something that will give us an opening instead of going and hunting down the openings. Now we're going and hunting the openings for ourselves. As you say, Kyogo's up there making a lot of room for himself, plus Jota's doing the same thing. So with two players like that, Paul, even a badder, the three players we've got up front, Paul, are pulling defences or roads.
I think they're our best three, man. Kyogo, Yash and Abada.
I'd agree with that. I think the new guy's going to be a decent player as well, Paul, but right now, definitely that's for front three.
Definitely.
Giacomakis, you could say the same about Giacomakis, to be fair as well, Paul, but it's horses for courses. Giacomakis will get his chance and he'll score goals.
Do you remember, Mark? Do you remember it was the Ross County game? And I know we won a 3-1 and we were playing Ross County, and with Kyogo up front, and we were putting about 30 crosses into the box at half time, and there was no. But today,
it was all on the deck.
We played Kyogo's strengths. Do you get me?
Aye.
We have to play. We have to play a different way.
That's it. The Ross County game would have been ideal for big Giacomakis, Paul.
Exactly.
If we're putting in it was 30 crosses or something, you can't. Kyogo's not going to win you much in the air.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Just for a simple reason, he's not that big, really, just in general. So, but the day it was more like passing it about on the deck and things like that. And some of the counter attacking that we put in the day as well, Paul, was fantastic.
Mark, like I remember the true balls we put in by O'Reilly, by Abada thing. I mean, you look at O'Reilly's tackle there, like it just goes to show what Ange wants his players to do is press and counter press. And O'Reilly did that for Kyogo's before he lost the ball. He didn't give it up. He put in the tackle. He'd run back the ball. And by God, that shot from Kyogo outside that box today was just unbelievable.
We see maybe pop my worldly in every game, didn't he?
Yeah.
One of our players. Jota the last couple, Kyogo the day.
And another today as well, Mark. People were going about Maeda. Like, people were saying, what does he bring? But today, for Abada's third goal, Reida didn't even look up to see where Abada was. He knew that there was going to be a Celtic player at that back post. And that's where he put that ball without even looking, Mark, because he didn't even lift up his head.
He just seems to sit, kind of sense it. He knows that the players are going to be there.
That's down to coaching, Mark, by the likes of Gavin Strachan, John Kennedy, and Harry Q. Like the
Just
players
the
know
players being in
where
the
the
same
players
kind
going
of
to be. Yeah,
way.
exactly.
Being in the same wavelength, Paul, and building up an understanding in that.
Mm. You know, like every player today, Mark, I thought what was on top form. I thought we would like. I was expect because Dundee, Mark, in fairness, like they do give us a tough game, and we speak about Dundee United a minute, Mark, but taking out of the thing, I don't think no team would have beaten Celtic today the way we played there today.
No,
You know?
no. I've said it before, Paul. Celtic on their day, there's no Scottish team will be able to lay a finger on us when we're on our game.
Mm-hmm.
And if we performed today the way we did, if we perform the day for the rest of the season, Paul, there's nobody getting near us at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even against Rangers next week, see if we play like we did the day against Rangers haven't got a hope in hell against us.
Mm-hmm. And
I mean,
even like that, Mark, we were saying
they defenders and that they've got.
yeah, and we were even saying about when Starfelt was injured. Um, we were saying that he'll have a challenge to shift more Tessians. But Starfelt put in, to me, a man of match performance as well today when he basically gave Fletcher nothing in the high balls. You
No,
know?
and
You know?
Fletcher done all right. Fletcher was playing all right for what he was up against. You get what I mean? I mean, he done what he was meant to be doing. He was getting up, challenging for headers and that, but he never really won much.
No, you can't play Fletcher, Mark, as a lone striker at his age. You know?
Did they know?
Really
They
can't.
did two up front, but Paul, did they know? It came up before the game.
Jesus
They were
Christ,
playing it. They were
it did.
playing
It didn't look
3-5.
like it.
No,
Didn't look like it, Mark, to this.
no, it
Didn't look
didn't
like
really.
this.
But when it came up on the screen on Sky before the game, it was like they were playing it was just saying it was a 3-5-2, but for me it was a 5-3-2. Do you know what I mean? It went 5 at the back.
What was interesting as well, Mark, from today is after today's result, Celtic are now 37 games unbeaten in the Premier League. We won 31, we drew 6, we scored 96 goals, conceded only 17. Our home record is 115, drew 3, goals for 44, against 6. Away from home, 116, drew 3, goals 52 against. Like, if you look to where we were, like, there was never a problem, Mark, really, with Celtic scoring goals over the years. It was the conceding goals.
Aye, they were
Seems to be Celtic's problem.
conceding silly goals as well, weren't it? And
Yeah,
a lot for set pieces, which we seem to be doing
Gavin
better.
Strachan seems to be
Aye.
sorting that out, Mark. What did you? What I heard
Aye.
that.
But it's
Strachan.
at both ends of the pitch, Paul, we seem more better at defending them and at better, like using them to our advantage at the other end, because
Exactly.
last couple of seasons, I mean, even with free kicks and that, were just, wasn't it?
Shocking. We didn't have a delivery for the Mark, did we?
No.
No.
And everybody just fancied, oh, I'll just, right, whose turn is it to try and take a pot shot this week then, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like 17 goals, Mark, in 96 games. I mean that's an unbelievable record. Like that is the way Ange plays that teams with the high press. They're not able to get out of back line, Mark. Do you get me?
Aye,
You know?
aye, you're defending for your front. I mean, you see with Kyogo on that day with their closing players doing that, Paul. That's basically that. It's just defending for the front. Like your strikers, your first defender kind of thing when the oppositions get the ball. And we're hunting in packs as well. When they have get the ball, there's 2 and 3 of them are harrying about them, trying to force players to make a mistake. And it seems to be working.
Another thing, and I said this to Mark, that I've been noticing this the last couple of days, and reason I wasn't on the live chat today on the phone is because I wanted to see this, and I can't really see it, Mark, if I'm on the phone in the live chat, and I can't really look at the match. And what I noticed is, Mark, with our strikers, especially Kyogo today, I think it was for one of his goals. I'm not too sure which goal it was. When Kyogo, when the ball's first played, Kyogo is staying offside. He's staying offside.
Aye.
And by the time the ball, we'll all pass in movement, Denmark, and with Kyogo's movement, by the time the ball gets to Kyogo, the ball is actually in front of Kyogo.
He's back on side.
He's
I
back
noticed
on
that
side.
as well.
He's back on side, and I think like this is a tactic from Ange here, Mark. Do you know what I mean? Like he's playing and it's confusing defenders. Do you get me? They don't know whether to go back to Kyogo.
They're using all this kind of, what is it they call it? Something they play into it, the kind of
Exactly.
and he's using that to Celtic's advantage. The
Yeah.
passage I play, Kyogo's offside, and then but we're
He
not
wasn't.
passing it to Kyogo, so it's gone to somebody else that's on side.
At the time, he's not active. Do you get me? He's not an active player because he's doing nothing. And I thought like it was actually it was brilliant, like because defenders go right. Do I go with Kyogo now? And if I go with Kyogo, I'm opening up the centre of the defence. But if I don't go with Kyogo, do I leave him offside? And the defenders then are thinking Kyogo is actually offside, but he's not. He hasn't been active in the game.
He's not participating in the passage of play.
But this is not the only time I saw. It's only Kyogo I noticed doing it, Mark. So I'm thinking, is it the way Kyogo actually plays? You know, and then
maybe it is.
Yeah,
Kyogo that's got the kind of the eye
only
for doing it.
Yeah, it's only Kyogo that I noticed this. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember there was a ball crossed in out to the right hand side, and Kyogo was in the middle, but he didn't move. He just left the ball go past him. But then when Taylor got the ball and Taylor crossed the ball, Taylor was in front of Kyogo with the ball. Do you get me?
Aye.
And then the second goal, it was pulled back. Then and Kyogo got the tap in. Like, so I just thought, Mark, that was.
The defenders, their heads will be spinning, Paul, trying to keep an eye. I mean, they're obviously defenders are out automatically. Their hand goes up for an offside. Because if they see a player, a player in that split second will just think he's offside. But the referee and the linesman, as you've said, you've got to make they can't just go with, he must be offside. But because he's actually playing the way the passage is going, Paul. He's not affecting anything.
But my problem, Mark, is when VAR comes in next season, will they take Kyogo's positioning into call? Do you get me?
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, even if they can go and look at it, then can go back and look at it.
Because
I mean, even if
today,
VAR
Mark,
is there,
the linesman was right on the line. Like he saw Kyogo was offside, but what he also probably saw was Kyogo wasn't interfering with play. You get me?
Aye.
You know?
Aye, so you just let it run. If VAR comes in and they want to look at it, then just let them look at it, because I mean, Sky never actually mentioned it, but they kind of were hinting at it. You could see with the way they were trying to stop the video, the replay and stuff like that. But it definitely was he played it well, and you said you've noticed that a few times. That's a really good thing to bring into the team, Paul. It really is, because it's just the confusion that you'll put into the defenders that are trying to cover this.
I saw him now, Mark, do this now. For the past 3 weeks, he seems to be doing it. So is it something that he's been doing all along, and he's been trying to implement this into the way he's playing for Celtic? Do you get me? You know. I thought it was very. I think it's very clever, Mark, of a way to.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
What am I looking for, Mark? Confused the defence.
You're putting confusion in the opposition defenders. Because any manager always says you play to the whistle, but even if one of the defenders kind of switches off and thinks, he's offside, that's that wee yard of space that we need, that players that look a bad in that just need, Paul, to hurt teams.
Exactly. There was 3 records broken today, Mark, by Celtic. Celtic manager broke his own personal record of 36 games unbeaten that he set with Brisbane Roar in Australia. Celtic, he now has 37 games with Celtic domestically, which is a new biggest away record for the club, and it's the biggest win mark the club had in 12 years. You know what I mean? We seem to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Like you look at the calendar year, Mark, practically when the Packy not beaten in the calendar year yet. Really, you know?
Well, Ange self, I went to when he came in, it was always going to be, wait till the second season. It usually takes a year. Even guys that kind of knew him for his time in Japan and that says, it takes a year to settle in that. Wait till he sees team the second season. And
this unbeaten run came in his second year in Japan.
Did that only start in his second year? Aye.
Yeah, the 36 games unbeaten. No, sorry, in Brisbane, in Australia, was 36 games in his second year in Brisbane before he went on to take the Australian job.
I mean, see, really, Paul, when you think it is, I know this is kind of a bit, I'm not wanting to be sounding like a pure fanboy, but see, to have a coach like Ange, Paul, and the way he approaches things and that's what like other teams in Scotland should be looking at. They should be looking at coaches for about the world that can come in and date. Maybe, obviously, it's in a smaller budget, but get coaches in instead of just getting on the kind of merry-go-round of guys like Derek McInnes and Keir. Do you get what I mean? Try and get somebody in like we've done with Ange that's got a kind of vision and background to it. Instead of just coming into clubs and it's just kind of hodgepodge and about trying to get results to stay in the league and stuff like that. I mean, Ange for me has got to be one of the best coaches that's ever served.
I'm just going to say to Mark, that was my next question, right?
Hi, Peter. Thanks for coming in, Peter.
A lot of people are saying that this is the best football they've seen Celtic play since Tommy Bawz. But I'm going to say, Mark, is this football actually better than Tommy Bawz? And is this the best Celtic squad we had in a very, very, very long time?
Oh, it's definitely the best squad we've had in a long time.
Is it better than Rodgers?
Even if you think about it, right, that's maybe a bit controversial. You take Larson out of Martin O'Neill's team. It was a good team, it was a great team, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near as special as it was without Larson being there.
You take Kyogo and G. Marcus out of this team, Mark, and we were still producing goals.
Aye. But it'd still be a really good team. So you've got to look at it for that kind of way. But the thing about it is as well, Paul, the way football's played has changed for the kind of Tommy Burns kind of era. I mean, back then it was like your old 4-4-2 with your two wingers,
exactly.
kind of thing in that. And it was like Barcelona and Ajax and that kind of started all this touchy football and that. So it's hard to compare, but the squad-wise, it's definitely one of the best squads I've seen at Celtic, even in my lifetime.
Yeah, because you're looking at it, Mark. Like you look at the four subs he made today, and he brought on Moy, Maeda, Turnbull, Forrest, all at once. And bar Forrest, you're not weakening your starting lineup. Do you get me?
Aye. I was a bit surprised, to be honest, to see Forrest coming on, but it is what it is. We know that he's going to be here. He's a
I
big
think, Mark, with the new
character
signing coming in now, Mark, in the next couple of days, once he's up to space, I think
but Paul,
is Forrest going to get in that bench?
I think he will.
Does he have to be there for the Champions League, Mark?
Well, that's one of the things, Plus, as I'm saying, Paul, he's a big character in the dressing room and that. And Ange just said that. And we only gave him a 3-year contract there in May. So, people were on the forum saying, Forrest will maybe go out on loan. There's no way Forrest got to go out on loan.
Mark, there was a reason for me anyway, and I think it is, and I've said it numerous of times in here, if Tom Roderick and Beaton would have stayed, I think Forrest could have went. But because we had two big personalities leave and two big winners who knows what it's winning is about Celtic, you know what I mean? I think that's the only reason why Ange kept him around, Mark, is being around that dressing room for these young players, for these new players coming in.
Aye.
This is my club. This is Celtic. We're winners. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. Look at James Forrest. Look at Cal McGregor. They've been here for years. Do you get what I mean? These two guys. Anything you want to know about Celtic, go to these two guys and they'll keep you right.
Because I remember when we went up and topped the league last season, and they were interviewing Tom Roderick, and Tom Roderick said, "Look, we've been up top for the last decade. You know, there's big players still within the squad who've been at Celtic for that decade. We know what it takes to be in top, and we know what it takes to stay in top. And I think that's why it's important, Mark, to have the likes of James Forrester and Cal McGregor there, and Mark, fair enough, Anthony Radisson as well, because Radisson has been in and around the Celtic squad as well for the last decade. Fair enough, he wasn't playing, but he knows what it is to be Celtic.
Aye. He knows everything. Again, they know everything about the club. And Ralston's no shrinking violet either. I mean, you can tell that on the park. He sticks up for himself if there's anything going on. And he's meant to be the same way in the changing room. He's one of the first guys, see if somebody's not pulling their weight. Ralston's one of the first guys that's in their ear and telling them you're not doing what's expected of you here.
Mm-hmm.
And dressing rooms need guys like that. Well, I mean, because a lot of you think, God, the managed like maybe a poor performance or that, they're getting at half time, drawing nothing each. Everybody's thinking, Ange will roast him and things like that. Sometimes it's players, Paul, that need to step up.
Mark, yes,
and
exactly.
say in the changing room, like McGregor's the captain. Like, I'm not saying they're standing in a huddle in the middle of the changing room, but you get what I mean? He gets them together and tells them this isn't good enough. And Ange probably just sits and takes a back seat.
Just coming away from Celtic, Mark, there, just for a few minutes, and the reason I want to talk about Dundee United, because look, there's new subscribers on that. There's a fella, we'll get him on soon in the near future to talk about Dundee United, is Jonas. Mickey's on the live chat there. He's Mickey's friend, but he was a regular last season with us on the live chat. Jonas, for me, Mark, is going to be hurting tonight, along with Dundee United fans, but not just with today, Mark, but with the season so far. 5 games, Mark, no wins, 1 point. Jack Ross said after the game today, this is hurting me. I'm suffering from it. It doesn't diminish the way I want to put this right. Every player tonight should feel embarrassed, humiliated, struggle to sleep. I know it's early in the season, Mark, for me, but it looks like, what I saw today, Mark, it's going to be a long season for Dundee United.
Winning becomes a habit, Paul, but so does losing.
Losing is harder, Mark.
And it's harder to get out the losing streak than it is the winning streak. I mean, we've had Jonas on, and he's been going on about how well things are going behind the scenes, the way the club's getting structured up and stuff like that. But I mean, Dundee United, let's be honest, these teams, right, they're getting into games against us and they're thinking, right, well, no, if we can get a draw here, it's a bonus. Any points, even a bonus. But they're getting in there, they're expecting to get beat by a couple of goals. But any team to be going out there and losing 9-0 for professional players, they've got to be hurt tonight, Paul.
25 goals, Mark, conceded in 4 games. That's a big
if they beat Alkmaar, went it? It all went a bit Pete Tong for they beat Alkmaar. But they just didn't. They didn't have any. I was saying to you before we came live, Paul. After it got to like 5 or 6, they just kind of gave up the ghost. They really did. You could just tell they just wanted the game to end.
Michael is saying there, Mark, that Jonas and other fans are saying the same thing. If Jack Ross and certain players aren't moved on by Wednesday transfer deadline, they're going down. And I agree with it, Mark, because before we came on here today, I said it to you that Dundee United looked like a team today that we were under Neil Lennon. Clueless in what our tactics were.
Not playing for the manager. Charlie, I mean, if you're playing the league champions, you're looking at your experienced players today. Your Charlie Mulgrews, your Tony Watson, teams like that,
and Clark and stuff like that.
And they were all starting in the bench. And I don't know. Maybe Mike would know better. But if there's maybe a split in the dressing room, these like experienced players are buying into what Jack Ross is saying. But I thought it was weird that I thought Mulgrew would have been a certainty to start for them. Do you get what I mean? Just for the simple reason. And again, his delivery at free kicks.
Exactly, into Fletcher there, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, I mean, that's the thing. But these weird clubs that are trying to pinch a result against us, they should be relying on their kind of set pieces kind of thing. And for Charlie Mulgrew to be just sitting on the bench today, I thought that was a bit of a strange.
If I'm honest, Mark, knowing what I know of Jack Ross, and I think he's the most overrated managers in Scottish football. Um, for me, he's failed in a lot of clubs that he went there. He failed in Hibs. He failed down in Sunderland when he went down there miserably, Mark.
There Mikey saying there, that's the worst Dundee United team I've ever seen. There's a
Yeah,
massive divide in the changing rooms. Mulgrew and Ross hate each other.
it
Where
is,
do you
Mark.
go?
And
There's only
it
got to
was
be one. There's
evident.
only got to be one winner there as well, isn't there?
And it was evident, Mark, today. Like, that's the problem, Mark. Like, I'm an outsider to Dundee United, and the reason I keep a close contact with Dundee United is because I want to know the facts when Jonas comes on the podcast.
Aye.
And it's as clear as day. There's problems in Dundee United, and Mickey's right there. If Jack Ross stays, and if he gets the backing of Dundee United, Mark, they're going down. And I'm sorry to say that they will go down, because what I saw them today, Mark, like, you looked at Coates last season, Mark. At least Coates tried to play football. Do you know what I mean? At least he tried. Today, I just saw. I don't know. I don't know what I saw
Why
today.
did they
Mark.
get rid of that Tam Coates?
He wanted a new challenge himself, Mark, in Hungary. He went to manage a team in Hungary, so it was actually Coates himself that wanted a new challenge.
That's a weird one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's really. What
Ross
you said there, Mark,
Ross
is
wanted Mulgrew moved on a few weeks back, and Mulgrew dug his heels in. Jack Ross will be away before Mulgrew. I'd agree with that, aye. Once you fall with all the kind of senior players in that, especially a team like Dundee United, you've not got much.
Mark, there's big problems if a manager comes out today and he doesn't take the blame for defeat like that. If he came out today, Mark, and he said the players should be embarrassed, humiliated, and they shouldn't sleep tonight. No, that's Jack Ross putting the blame on the players. And rightly so, Mark, the players should be blamed.
The
Or he
players
should
have
be
got
taking the blame.
well, the buck stops at the manager.
Yeah, like, he
But
didn't take that blame.
the players have got to take a certain amount of the responsibility for that performance, Paul.
Well, Mark,
As
after
I said as
performance
well,
like
but
that,
Paul,
Mark, is that just
was
showing
surpri-
that the players aren't backing the backing the manager?
But they never even get dirty. Do you know what
No.
I said that to you? I mean, see, really, if you're getting beat 6 or 7-0, see, if I was still playing football, Paul, and I was getting beat 6 or 7-0, I'm getting sent off. The red mist's coming down on me. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm getting sent off if I'm losing a game like that. But Dundee United there wasn't even any fight in them or nothing.
But Mark, is that going down to what we're just saying? Like we saw the same with Celtic under Neil Lennon, Mark. There was no fight there. Do you get me? It just seems too similar, Mark. When a team downs totals, do you get me? You can see it clearly, Mark. When a team down, and I feel sorry for like Jonas being a season ticket holder there. It's not cheap, Mark, anymore to be buying a season ticket, like, and especially for a club like Dundee United, they want these tickets. But if they're putting in performances like that, Mark, no wins in 5, you have to question the manager, Mark, with no wins in 5.
Aye. Mikey's saying there as well. He doesn't expect Jack Ross to be there much longer, and I don't think he will either.
But see, my problem now, Mark, is there's already talk, and I saw it today. And it's just going back to what you were saying there. It's the same. It's like down in Manchester, down in the South, Mark. The same managers pop up all the time. The likes of Bruce, Allardyce, the same folks, Mark Hughes. They all start coming around to these teams. It's like a circle of managers. They obviously be getting jobs.
He's always dig Joe.
And the one fellow who's linked with Dundee United already, Mark, is Craig Levine. do you know what I mean? And that's just going by what you were saying there, Mark, is take a risk, go out and get a manager outside of Scotland, bring in a different brand of football, because if they don't do something, Mark, like, they already have no points, Mark, on the table, like, and if they don't get results fast, Mark, Christmas is going to be upon them in no time, Mark, and after Christmas, Mark, if they're struggling down the bottom, they're going to find it hard to get out of that relegation zone.
Aye, you'll need to change something pretty quickly as well. Mm-hmm. So I say you just get bogged down, and what losing just becomes a habit, and if there's no fight in the team or that, the experienced players, the senior players, aren't getting on with the manager. That's going to cause problems. And
would they take a risk on Mulgrew? Do you
as a
think?
manager,
Would they take a risk on that?
I don't know. Maybe it's caretaker to maybe get somebody else in.
If he's one of these experienced players, Mark, and if he's respecting the dressing room, because you never know. But
I'd rather take a punt on Charlie Mulgrew than give Craig Levine the job. He was another man that I don't know how he got all the jobs that he got, Paul. Just I never seen him anything good for Levine. His team were just cloggers. That's all they really were. A team of cloggers. Every team he managed was just cloggers.
Michael O'Neill from Stoke. He won't be a bad actually there, Michael.
That would be a decent shout.
I think he was just unlucky at Stoke because he came into them and they were in a rush and it just continued.
Stoke's one of the clubs. It's a bit of a poison chalice, isn't it? That Stoke job. It's a bit like Sunderland.
Yeah.
It's one of the jobs that even though you don't pay much attention, you always just catch a wee, that's them looking for a manager again kind of thing every few months, they kind of clubs.
At least Michael O'Neill, Mark, will play a bit of brand of football. Do you get me? He's a manager who wants to play football. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
But moving on, that's enough about Dundee United. Back to us, Mark. We've been saying for the last couple of weeks, Mark, and I've been missing for 2 weeks with holidays. I saw clips of the last few games. Was it Kilmarnock we played at the weekend, Mark, on the AstroTurf?
Aye.
Like we're averaging, Mark, 3-4 goals a game. Like I've been saying, anytime I see Celtic, we seem to be getting better and better and better. And you kind of have to agree with that, Mark, don't you? The fitness thing, like we're lasting practically now, Mark, nearly 90 minutes a game of Ange's high tempo. Like the 94th minute there today, we still had players chasing the ball down, trying to get that 10th goal. Do you get me?
Players don't seem to be getting off, Paul, for being tired. It's just the kind of just like the normal rotation of the squad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the players are getting off, they're not blowing out their arse kind of thing. You can tell they're no. To get their fitness levels are a lot better than they've been. A hell of a lot better than they were under Lennon. And even for last year under Ange, you can see the advantage, Paul, of a full pre-season with no qualifiers in that. They came flying out the blocks at the start of the season. I mean, look at where were we this time last season after this amount of games?
Maybe about third, I think, weren't we?
Aye.
Third, yeah, we round around the third spot, I think, Mark. Yeah.
And look at
we lost our first two, didn't we?
Aye. We have that. Been over in the Champions League qualifiers, we've just been able to train, get the fitness up to the peak condition, and we've just come out the blocks flying. And as I said earlier, Paul, onward day, there isn't a team in Scotland that are going to lay a finger on us. I'm not going to do a wee John and jump right in and say we'll win the treble, because that's a bit. We're capable of winning a treble, Paul, but in cup games we know anything can happen. We will have off days. We'll drop points in the league. I'm not saying we'll lose games, but we'll maybe draw games. But if we're on our game, Paul, there isn't a team in Scotland that's going to stop us just running riot this season.
When's the last time? Like what I'm saying, I'm like I can't remember the last time.
We were sixth after 6 games last year.
I can't remember the last time when we sat down and we talked about a Celtic goalkeeper or defensive error, like not just the attacking, Mark, but like for me, the key for all Ange's build-up, Mark, is he saw we had serious problems in our defence, and he came in and brought in the defenders he wanted to play the way he played. Like I can't remember the last time, Mark, we actually spoke about our defence, our goalkeeper having a bad game, because they're not in the game. Do you get me?
Aye. Even the defenders, Paul, most of their work's getting done in the kind of attacking sense, isn't it? They're not really getting called upon to do much defending, and when they're getting called upon, they seem to be doing well. Seem to be doing their job. People were going on the day. I seen them on Twitter and that, about Starfield back in the team. Why is For me, Starfelt and Vickers is still the first choice centre back pair.
Definitely, yeah. And you could see that today, Mark. You know, the understanding between the two of them.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Starfelt was going forward. Vickers was staying back. If Vickers went forward, Starfelt stayed back. That's an understanding between the two of them.
I wasn't surprised at all for Starfelt to come into the team now that he's fully fit and that. I mean, Jens don't get us wrong, Jens has looked the part, but it's going back to the thing, Paul. It's players have got to win the jersey and claim that. Really, it's Starfelt's jersey now, and Jens has got to try and take that off him. That's the kind of challenge for Jens, for a player coming into the club. But I mean, I've said that 100 times as well. We're going to play 60 odd games this season or something. Players will have plenty of game time to get game time under their belt.
I think, and I'll talk about it a bit later there when we're doing the group stage of Champions League, kind of now until the run up to November, Mark, is when the World Cup starts. Celtic be averaging 2 games a week for most weeks, just to get there between the Champions League qualifiers. If we progress into the League Cup is most likely now going to be played on weekdays. Do you know what I mean? So Celtic are going to be averaging 2 games, Mark, a week, and that's a big ask.
Aye,
for teams.
That's what happens at big clubs, Paul.
Yeah, and that's why we have a big squad. Mark, because of that.
Look at the squad that they have, the size of it. I mean, the midfield, we've got an abundance of midfielders now, kind of thing. And we're getting back, we've got two quality players for every position. It's a kind of ideal thing. See, for guys, as you say, you sit there and even for playing Football Manager and things like that, that's just what that's kind of the dream, isn't it? If you've got 2 strong players for every position, you're doing something right. And Celtic have got that now for the first time in a long time as well.
But you know what you don't hear, Mark? No, bar one player, but he's since left the club, but you don't hear no players moaning, I want to be starting. They know that Ireland doesn't have a preferred starting 11. Do you get me? That was everything today.
Every player should be wanting to start.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything. See, I wouldn't say that. It can be. I know you're meaning like Julian, but the way Julian went about, but he just seemed to. He kind of thought, if I'm fit, I'm getting my jersey back. That was never going to happen. But I think if a normal player just comes out and says, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If just saying, I want to be playing every week, but it's up to the manager to pick me. It's up to me to no give the manager the choice. Do you get it? It's like if you ever seen Roy Keane, he's talking about squad rotation.
There's so many games, Mark, that players are going to get a run.
Aye.
Anyway, they're going to get minutes anyway. Do you get me?
Ian just came out and said that they're all going to get their chances because of the amount of games we play. But every player should be out there saying, no, I want to be playing every week. No, I don't mean that in a moaning way to the manager. I just mean that as a professional football player, you want to be playing every single game. Players shouldn't be happy to sit on the bench or be up in the stand and things like that. I question players like that, Paul. See guys like Scott Bain and that. I mean, what's their kind of motivation? Why Scott Bain knows I want to be at his age and that? Why Scott Bain knows saying I want to be playing every week? I'm not going to be playing every week here, so I'm off. I question that more than a player coming out and demanding to be playing every week when you're not here.
An interesting thing for you. I was reading up the news in the B team yesterday, and the new fella Clark was in goal. And I was reading up, like, where was my man, Toby? I had been up Toby's. I talked about Toby in 2 weeks. Toby's now part of the first team squad, Mark. He's not going to be...
Is he? Aye.
Yeah,
he's not going to be part of the B team squad because of that foreigners rule, probably.
Yeah. Clark is slotting in there. Toby, we be slotting down, Mark, just for a few games to give him kind of match fitness, but he's now going to be part of the first team squad. So I think Toby is going to be, like, going what you're saying there, Mark, is Bain. I think Toby's going to be ahead of Bain. I think it's going to be Hart, Seagrass and Toby, then Bain.
Is there still a rule that you need 2 goalkeepers on the bench for?
On the bench,
for Champions League games?
League, yeah. Well, interested to see that now next week, Mark, if Toby will be on the bench instead of Bain. And if you see that, well, then you know the order of the goalkeepers.
Toby been there now, Paul?
Toby signed for Celtic.
Would would he come under like the homegrown kind of category?
Well, we signed him back when he was 16, like, so I think he probably would be like. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe I
He's
can see
first-
Toby being the backup
He,
keeper in
he,
Champions
he,
League
he,
nights.
his first professional contract was with Celtic, really. Do you get me? You know, so
Aye,
he would have come in homegrown, Mark. If he's,
I
I think
suppose
that's where
going
it
through
goes,
the
Mark.
academy.
If
They
that's
need
your
to have
first
played in.
contract at the club, Mark, you're classified then as homegrown. Do you get me?
Aye, or
You know?
even if you've played. See, I think off the top of my head, Paul, I think McCarthy would come under that ruling as well for his time at Accies. Because you need to have their son. It's like the thing that they come through the academy and all that, Paul. There's also the thing about they must have played for 3 consecutive years in the association when they were younger, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Off the top
exactly.
of
I
my
get
head.
you. I get you.
So I don't know if McCarthy would even fall into like that the later group of them there.
Do you think maybe that's why they're holding on to McCarthy, Mark, or is
Oh,
he one of the players we're still expecting to go? Maybe
Paul, I thought he was going to Sunderland.
that's gone now. That Alex
Aye,
Neil, I think, has gone to Stoke. Yeah.
I think so as well. Because he did. Well, I don't know if he went down himself, but his agent was definitely speaking to Sunderland. That was a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about that, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of just went a bit cold. Maybe it is because of the Alec Neil thing. So I don't know. It just seems to be a bit of confusion, didn't it?
I think I'm only going by Thursday, Mark. Looking at our squad, I think I'm only expecting one departure, and maybe that's a Yeti.
I think it'll be away.
Yeah, I think that's the
Definitely.
only one I think is.
But it might go to the wire right enough because I think it's getting to the kind of stages that it's who'll take him. But I've said that agents always find moves, Paul, because there's money to be made for them. Do you know what I mean? So they'll always find somebody that'll take their player. But he's just. I think
He could be the only departure, Mark. I think he will be. I think Mickey Johnston, if he was fit, I think he would be. I think he's picked up a knock again, so I don't think people are going to take him on loan, Mark, while he's injured. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if it was while you were on holiday, Paul. The story I get told was that he was there
Ronnie
for a
Dyler?
medical. He was there for a medical with Ronnie Dyler at Standard Liège, and
Oh my God!
the scan showed up something, and that put a stop to it. I don't know how
Jeez.
true that is. It might. He's like I don't know whether it's a long-term underlying problem or whether it's just like a new wee kind of injury knocker.
But
That was meant to be what happened.
did he put his boots on the right foot and they saw like what's going on here? You know,
Tied his shoelaces together.
Incomings, Mark. Are you expecting, or do you think it's business now? What I'm hearing now, Mark, is because Mackie have qualified for the Champions League as well. That they're trying to hold on to Mohamed Abdul Fani. That they're not. I don't think they're trying to get him to stay.
Kind
So-
of went a bit cold into it, Paul. But
Yeah.
they said I mean, the talk was that whether it was to Celtic or another team, we don't know. But the talk was that the deal was already set up and arranged. Blah de blah blah.
After
Once
the
the
things, yeah,
once the
Yeah.
Champions League's fate was sorted out, that the move would happen.
yeah.
But
But
it
I think,
definitely seems to have went really quiet on that as well.
did they persuade him to stay, Mark, with them being in the Champions League now as well?
But I
You know?
mean, Fanny, he can play anywhere, Paul. He can play it wide as well, can't he?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so I was thinking, we were in for this Haksabanovic. Is that it? We were in for him a while ago.
You're
And
asking me.
they said there was something about. I'm reading it in the screen too, trying to read it and pronounce it. But they said that there was some problems with doing financial deals and that, so that was why the deal didn't get through. So obviously they've came to some kind of agreement of why. Maybe that's how we've paid a lower fee or whatever. But is that maybe was Fanny maybe the other option to Haksabanovic? Do you get what I mean? So when we knew that we've signed him, we've just we've went off the signing of Fanny.
But he's a forward, Mark.
Who?
He's not. This fella we signed, Habanovic. He's a forward. He can either play left wing
But can Fanny no do the same? That's what I mean. Are they not just the same type of players that can just play
no,
in
no,
any
no.
numerous positions?
Fanny's is the player that I'm saying that we need. This holding midfielder. You know, the position that you're worried about going into the Champions Leagues, the Callum McGregor position, we're calling it. You know, are we? That's where Mohamed Abdul would fit in. He'd fit in there. Do you get me? This fella
Right.
that we signed now, Mark, I was very surprised because uh, he was given the number 9. So, and if you look up on Celtic things, Mark, it's coming up as a striker on the Celtic data. Is a striker. So, is he our third striker? And we're expecting a Yeti to be moved on.
Well, it might be that. That's what I was meaning. But he can play in any of these positions. So maybe he is going to be just a kind of utility player.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Whether it's on the wing or it's just like a third choice striker or whatever.
You know, so like looking at us now, Mark, I don't think we're going to be signing a player that everyone is saying we need. JFP was saying it today on the live chat. We're still missing this one player, this Lewis Foxen player. He calls this, but for me, I won't see Lewis Foxen being able to play Ange's style. But we're just missing this one player, Mark, who can put in a tackle in the centre midfield. That's the only weakness, Mark, I think.
Aye.
That's
Yeah,
in
I mean,
Ange's team.
it doesn't need to be I've said this in the phone 100 times. We're not talking about a big hatchet, Peter Grant type of player.
No.
Just somebody that's got a bit of dig about themselves. I mean, you look at look at guys that look at Zidane. I mean, one of the best players ever playing the game. Maradona, guys like that. They'd all the skill in the world, but they could also they also had a bit of physical presence about them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? It's just that. But don't get me wrong, O'Reilly can bring a bit of that in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you know? But somebody, I keep going on about it. McGregor tackling and that, Paul. Do you know what I mean? We just need somebody in there that can do a wee bit more of the kind of physical, dirty side of it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Moving on from today's game, Celtic's group stage was released on Thursday. Celtic were joining Group F alongside Spanish giants Real Madrid, RB Leipzig, and Ukrainian side Shakhtar Donetsk. A tough group. I think everyone is expecting Real Madrid to finish the group, but I'm expecting Celtic, Mark, to end this hoodoo that's hanging over Celtic for the last couple of years and actually maybe aim for second in this group, Mark. I think I watched, when I was in Poland last week, I watched Shakhtar Donetsk against Benfica. And to be honest, Mark, they're a young side. Unfortunately, Mark, their side kind of put together at the moment. You get me?
Aye.
You know,
because he was getting on there. I mean,
yeah.
it's a bit rotten to say it, Paul, but see, because he was getting on there, know that I think we'll no easily, but we should be more than capable of beating them home and away.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely should be able to beat Shakhtar.
Looking at the fixtures, September the 6th, we have Real Madrid. 14th of September, where we're in Poland. They're playing their games in Poland, Shakhtar Donetsk. October the 5th, we're away to RB Leipzig. 11th, we're at home to RB Leipzig. We're at home to Shakhtar Donetsk, and we're away to Real Madrid. Like going by the group, Mark, if we're still in for going second, I would actually prefer to be away to Real Madrid, Mark, because you're nearly guaranteed that they're qualified. They put best players in that last game.
Real Madrid don't go full pelt in the Champions League group stages, Paul.
No, never did, Mark. Never
and
did.
I think we've actually got the two best games to be playing them. The first and the last. I really do. You see the first game, they'll be coming out full pelt because that's just with the way Real Madrid seem to be. They just expect to get through, Paul. They get. I mean, they're one of the teams. They turn up. and name it, they'll get
Well,
through.
Mark, we're talking about that Celtic need this enforcer player, but for me, Real Madrid have lost one of their most experienced players, and their type of player that we're looking for, Mark, and they've lost Cameroso to Manchester United.
Aye,
I know they have this young lad coming in. I don't know his name to Mark, but he's going to be a big loss to Real Madrid this season because he's like, say what you say about Mark. He can be dirty and he can wind up players, but
aye,
the man is brilliant at reading the game.
aye, he's a cracking player.
Yeah.
That could be a big loss to Real Madrid's system.
Mm-hmm.
Say his name again, Paul.
Cameroso. Casemiro, sorry.
Casemiro. There's always one body in there. See, the funny thing is, I put up on the Discord a wee video how to pronounce that Celtic player's name, and I've still made a pure arse of it, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Haksabanovic.
But
Sead Haksabanovic.
If we go that starting lineup today, Mark, we say, right, that maybe that's our best 11 there now, and maybe one or two changes, right? Maybe they might come in, Yarsa might go back to the right, or something like that. Are you confident that team going in against Real Madrid?
Yeah, we've got to be, haven't we? I'm not really. I mean, see the team that started today, Paul. I'd say that's our best 11.
Mm-hmm.
And well, if that's the best we've got, that's what we've got to go up against them with. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we've gone about Brendan Rodgers going toe to toe with Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona and getting pumped, but we spoke about it. Is Ange going to tweak his system to be a wee bit more defensive? But he doesn't seem to be, Paul, didn't he?
All fella there today, Mark, and I was reading up about him because he was all over Twitter because the transfer deadlines. He was on about transfers in Japan. All fella Don Olvitz, Mark, in the Japanese thing, and he was asked about Ange in Europe, and he said Ange is going to be relishing the opportunity to bring his own brand of football to Europe. He said that Europe hasn't seen Ange's football yet, and a lot of teams wouldn't get to cope with Ange's football. They asked him about Real Madrid, and he said Real Madrid could actually play into Ange's advantage, is because they'll attack, Mark, and they'll open up space for us. Do you get me?
Aye.
So they could actually open up for us, Mark. We don't know, but he's not going to tweak it, Mark. He's not going to go to defence. He'll go toe to toe. The only thing I'm thinking, Mark, is maybe what he might do if Iguchi is fit, that he might sacrifice either O'Reilly or Hayase and put maybe a defensive Iguchi in there who'd actually do that attacking up the top end instead of Hayase and O'Reilly. Do you get me? Maybe he might do something like that.
It's just, I've said it for months, Paul. I'm dreading us getting into the Champions League with Callum McGregor playing in that defensive midfield role. That's a weak link for me in the team when you're coming up against top class opposition. Really is.
That's what I'm thinking, Mark. Would he actually put Iguchi in there? Do you get, because he was trying that, Mark, in the pre-seasons.
It seems to be as well, Paul. He's bringing on Moy and McGregor's pushing up a slot. Do you get what I mean? Moy's playing the kind of deep line role and McGregor's moving up a slot as well, sir. Again, I don't know if I'm getting to Champions League with Aaron Moy in there either, right?
No, I think, Mark, if
I mean, the pre-season, Paul, he was playing two in there.
They had McCarthy and
I mean, that could be. People would be like, oh, but that would be him changing his full system. But it's not really. That's just tweaking the actual tactics and the way the team's set up. The way you play the game's still going to be the exact same.
If you look at Gucci's profile, Mark, he's an attacking. What would you call him? I don't know. I'd say he's a defending midfielder, not a defensive midfielder. but I defend him if he defend from the attack. Do you get me?
Aye.
You know, like what I was saying there, Mark. Like is that what the Dan's calling, Mark, a defensive
A
attacker.
defensive attacker, aye.
Yeah, and that's the kind of player that Ideguchi is, Mark. And I think, Mark, if he needs to bring in a player to give Cal McGregor support, it has to be him. Moy's not known to be a tackler either. You know, like I
No.
say about Moy today, Mark. He did some great passes there today. In fairness to him, Moy. You know.
Aye, I still think it's a weird in that Paul signing him. I really do, but
Who will?
he'll not be on any kind of crazy money or that. So just that fact,
No,
again, just
look,
trust
Mark. It's
Ange
a
for
player
what
that
he's
Ange
doing.
trusts.
Aye, that's it.
You know what I mean?
Aye.
It's another. For me, Mark. It's a young squad. It's a very young squad. It's a player who Ange knows, who trusts. He knows the way Ange plays.
That's
Paul
just cracking open his 10th super lager there.
7 up. 7 up. Whose place will? Oh my God. Haskabanovic take, Mark.
I don't think he'll take
looking at
anybody's
his team, Mark, I
place.
don't think it's. But I think he's coming in, Mark. Really, is at the moment I'm looking at is he third choice striker?
Well, I think Paul maybe like a backup winger, maybe third choice. Do you get what I mean? I think he's
utility
that
player. Yeah.
He's a utility player. That's what Ange seems to be. He's mentioned that a few times, bringing in players that can do a number of roles within his system, within his squad. That's what he says. So I think it's a case of. I think Forrest isn't going to be Zoffin in the bench, but when it comes to Europe again, Forrest's going to go on that because he's homegrown status and stuff.
Exactly.
You can't just throw them in there. You can't just throw a player on their blind side. Forrest's going to need game time as well. So it's going to. I think it's just we've said it, Paul. Ange uses it's a squad game, and that's how Ange looks at it. We sit there and we kind of pick our best 11, and Ange will know who his best 11 is. Look for today, but it'll be a game by game basis, Paul, that he'll pick the team. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's got to be the way.
We just sorting something out there, Mark, to the live chat. Like, what would your midfield three be? For the Real Madrid game, I'm not going to say against Shakhtar Donetsk and RB Leipzig, Mark, but what would the midfield three be? If it's me, I think I would go McGregor, Ideguchi, and O'Reilly. I think there's a bit of bite there with O'Reilly there, Mark, as well.
But you're throwing Gucci in there again, aren't you?
But you have to if you want a defensive cover.
Maybe Gucci will start in midweek, Paul, and get a bit of game time under his belt.
I think so, man. It's just a pity that he's picked up an injury again, because I think Ange actually had plans for him this season, because there was a reason, Mark, he was playing that position that I told you, like when he took off the likes of O'Reilly, Calamac, and Hiase, it was McCarthy that was going into the centre, and it was Gucci that was going into Hayashi and O'Reilly's role. So he was doing the attacking. Do you get me?
Aye.
He was doing the attacking.
Bobby's saying Calmac attacking O'Reilly. That's what I think it'll be as well, Paul.
Well, that's what it will be, Mark. Yeah, but
aye.
Are we going to get run through with the likes of Kroos and Modric there, Mark? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know Modric. Will they be able to handle our speed, Mark? The likes of Kroos and Modric. Like, they're getting along the block as well, Mark.
Aye, but they're reading of the game, innit, Paul? They're kind of at a different level, that way kind of thing. They maybe not get the legs, but their brain's still as sharp as attack. Mm-hmm. Paul, let's be honest, right? It's Real Madrid. I don't honestly expect us to get much out of it. If we can get a draw out at Celtic Park, I'll be as happy getting a draw.
Mark, I'd be quite happy, Mark,
getting a win. I would be, honestly.
If we get beaten by Real Madrid 1-2, Mark, I'd be quite happy with that. I don't want us to go out like
Brian's still going on about Jack Ross.
Brendan Rodgers, Mark. Going on about Brendan Rodgers going toe for toe with Barcelona and conceding fucking 7-8 goals against the two of them.
Aye. See, I mean, let's be honest. See if Celtic played Real Madrid at Celtic Park and we get beat 2-0, 3-1. You just shrug it off. You know what I mean? You're playing one of the best teams in the world. They've been one of the best teams in the world for the invention of football kind of thing, Paul. Do you know what I mean? So it's all right nitpicking and things like that, or who you would pick and who you would. But let's face it, Paul. Celtic could play with 12 men and we'd probably still get beat.
I don't know, Mark. Like I'm look, I'm going by.
No, I know I said earlier, I know by Madrid don't get in full pelt in the Champions League.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
if
a good time.
listen,
It's a good time to play
if
them.
you listen
Like,
to
there's no shame in getting beat off Real Madrid.
the fella Dan Oswich to him, Mark, like what he was saying, like made sense. Like he was saying, this Celtic team is about speed. Real Madrid is an aging football team. You know, like their midfield is aging. He said, like, if we stop Benzema,
Just won the European Cup again, Paul.
But they are aging, though, Mark, aren't they?
They're aging, but they're still a right good team.
Oh, well, no doubt, Mark, they're one of the best teams in the world, Mark. But I don't think, Mark, we'll get annihilated the way we did when we had Brendan Rodgers there. I think Ange is too cute for that. Ange knows how strong Real Madrid are. And I think Ange will have a plan. You know?
Hopefully he's got a game plan. Really, a day. I mean, he might pull an ace out his sleeve, Paul, and surprises all the way he sets the team up and stuff like that. But I've said this now, but see, I said earlier on about some of our counter-attacking today, Paul. See, some of that counter-attacking, Real Madrid would struggle to keep up with that.
But that's what I'm saying, Mark. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Movement.
But that's what I said, Mark, that they'll attack us, Mark, and that they'll actually play into our benefit, Mark, with our high tempo attack. Like.
But Paul, you're maybe only getting one or two chances out the 90 minutes today to take them. So if we do get the chance, we need to make it count.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there's no, as I said, Paul, there's no shame in getting beat by Real Madrid. As long as we don't get pumped, do you know what I mean? Nobody's really expecting. If Celtic get beat 2-0 at Celtic Park, nobody's going to be shocked. Or do you get what I mean? It's just like that's it. Done and dusted. We move on and try and concentrate on the games that we know we can get something out of. I think we'll beat Donetsk home and away.
This is the lad, Cannavaga, the 19-year-old. That's the fella he's taken over Camaresso. He's taken over him in the centre midfield because they thought he would stay another year to let this fella age, Mark, till he got about 20s, till he kind of matured a bit more. But this fella's a beast of a player. You know, 19 years of age, Mark, like and thing, like you're looking like at the opposite side, Mark. You see Barcelona buying all these aged players because they don't have money, and you look at Real Madrid. Real Madrid have players coming through their ranks. They don't need to go out and spend. You get me?
Barcelona's starting to act like Man United have over the last couple of years, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of signing players because they're big names and available, but not actually giving any thought into what they're actually going to bring to the team or the club.
Exactly.
And I know it's good enough for them, I know.
They made a job Harry McGregor there to win two games in a row. Jesus Christ.
But Paul,
I said they made a job Harry McGregor. They win 2 games in a row.
Maguire, £80 million. Would you have Harry Maguire on your Celtic team?
No, wouldn't have any.
I wouldn't even swap Harry Maguire for Stephen Welsh, Paul.
No, shocking, man. It really is shocking.
And the fact that he's a captain in Man United makes it even worse as well.
Do you know what the worst thing is, Mark? He's not even good in the air. And the fella's he's one of the biggest players in that Manchester United team. And
look at the size of his head.
Yeah,
just the size of his actual head, Paul.
But if you know a thing about Mark, and it's the same with England, Harry McGregor never picks up a player. He's always a free man. So it's like he's avoiding the physical aspect of his game. Do you get me?
Man. Terrible,
man.
Aye.
You know,
would have been better buying Christopher Ayer.
Yeah. Look,
I mean, for the money, do you get what I mean? It'd have been better buying Christopher Ayer.
They had a chance of going for Van Dijk, Mark, and they pulled out of it, Mark, because the reason was he came from Celtic and he was only down to Southampton for a year, and that's what they based it on. You know,
We need to. I think a lot of the teams, not just like Kofi Celtic, but I think even some of the transfers for Scotty. I think a lot of recent transfers, Paul, involving players in Scotland, Scottish players, has been good for the overall kind of game.
well,
I mean, there's a few. Lewis Ferguson's away out of Italy. A couple of other guys have went abroad. We've had players going to Bayern Munich. And, I mean, I sent you that article, Paul. It was some.
Sorry.
It was some kind of Spanish scouting report or something, minding they were Italian scouting report, and they were talking about how similar the game in Scotland is to the Italian game, and that's why these players are kind of showing up and getting recognised with Italian scouts and stuff like that. But you know, it'll be a good thing for I know Serie A is not as good as it used to be back in the day, but it's still a lot stronger than
Mark,
Scottish
give me 2
league.
seconds there, Mark. Something's after happening there.
No
2 seconds.
bother.
Talk about there. Hello. Yeah.
I'll just mute you, Paul's mic, yeah. In case it's a missus giving him grief. What was I saying there? About players going to Italy, and we've had guys going to Bayern Munich. It's got to be good for the Scottish game that we're producing players that are at that kind of level. I mean, I've said Stephen Welsh guy, he's rubbish, Celtic should